Third time's the charm, I guess. The last time I made a video about this, or I uploaded and instantly deleted because I realized I said the word like too much in a very obnoxious way. I'll try to be mindful about that. So, besides that, I think I'll just go straight into the topic. Friendship. A very obvious thing that people understand. I think there's way more nuances to friendship than just people you like to hang out with. I feel like nowadays, or in the online space, there is sort of a lack of understanding or a lack of respect to the word friendship, where it's not enough for people to just hang out with you. There's way more to it than just that. Because friendship, what real friendship is a lifelong community that you build with not just one person but multiple people. You know, it's the family you choose. So let me elaborate. Friendship, right? It's not enough for people to hang out with you. If that was the case, then acquaintances, coworkers, or even family members you don't like, family members that you may not like, you could consider them friends or cousins or whatever. It's like at that point, it's not enough to just be like, I hang out with them, okay, we're friends. What real friendship is, what true friendship is the idea that the other person and you and vice versa accept each other for who you guys are. And it could not just be guys, it could be girls. I'm just saying guys as a neutral term. If I say any like gender term, I mean in a neutral way. Then again, I only know really about male friendships because all my friends are guys. So anyway, when you meet someone for the first time and you guys click and you realize we share the same interest or this guy's interesting, you don't even have to have the same interest. You guys could just like vibe enough to the point where you guys will hang out just because of that. You think the other guy's cool even if you guys don't share the interest. And from that, where if you guys hang out enough, you guys should be able to at some point be self-critical of each other to the point where it's like I can say what I want, not self-critical, that's a bad word to use in that context, but to where you guys are self-reflective and like understanding of each other to where you can be open to say an opinion that the other person may think it's weird or whatever, and at the end of the day you guys are still friends, where they accept your flaws and you don't have to hide your flaws. That's like real friendship. where you where other people, I notice, they tend to use friendship as a way to be very transactional with each other, where I do this, you do this for me, I do this for you, okay, we're friends simply because of that. And I think that's very business oriented, that's very short term, because if you have nothing to offer to someone at that point, then why even hang out with them? In terms of material, in terms of material goods, or like you being able to exploit each other in like an emotional sense, you know? And what I think real friendship is, it's probably a little bit transactional, where you guys make each other laugh, you guys are happy with each other, you guys are hanging out, having a good time, and that's in a sort of way is transactional. I make you happy, you make me happy, and that's a sort of transaction where you guys stay together. Regardless whether you have the same interests or not, having the same interests could help, but don't necessarily think that having the same interest will should be a criteria for friendship. You should be able to hang out with someone and they're open minded about you and you're open minded about them, or whether you have disagreements, whether you have different tastes, whether they look at you doing a thing they don't like, whether you look at them doing a thing you don't like, or at the end of the day you remain friends. And that's the biggest thing. Because if you look at transactions, it's like I do this, you do that, or you don't do that for me, or you do a thing I don't like. Okay, we're done. Like you're worthless, and I think that's very like I don't know if it's like it's inhuman. It's so like robotic, and the holy shit, the sentimental holy shit, I can't say that, whatever, the humanity, I'll leave that in, I don't give a fuck. The humanity of being able to just be with someone because they're that nice to you, and not nice because they want they have an ulterior motive where they want to extract resources from something from you or exploit you or whatever, where you can you can just hang out with them and there's nothing to it. You just like to hang out with them and that's it. And even if you say something bad, even if you're disrespectful, even if you say whatever, if you can both discuss it and understand why you did that, why it's wrong, whatever, where even if you push boundaries and at the end of the day you're able to discuss it as people and your friendship remains the same, then I think that's real friendship. Like the humanity about it is what's lacking, I think, in today's like climate, where too many people will not discuss things, will not discuss disagreements, will be too quick to cut people off. Where you can cut someone off if they consistently, deliberately, maliciously do the same repeated harmful actions to you, where they, I don't know, let's say they use your car constantly, they don't pay you for gas, they use you as a meal ticket, they like exploit you emotionally, whatever the case may be. If it's consistent enough and you realize it's consistent enough, they're not your friends. I think some people like don't understand that just because you hang out with someone, that it's not friendship. It's purely exploitative, or it's just business on their end and how they like are basically scamming you for whatever needs they want, you know? A real friend, if a real friend fucks up or does something malicious to you or disrespects you or say anything wrong, anything, if you're able to discuss it, if you're able to say I did this thing wrong or you did that wrong, and at the end of the day you come to agreement that maybe it was shitty, it was whatever, then that's real friendship. And I think people should look at that where it's like, can I be honest with this person? If I say something rude or bad, like, are they gonna instantly blow up and cut me off for no reason? Like, you know what I mean? I'm not saying like you should like do it as a test or whatever. Like, don't do that. But I'm saying you should think about if I say X thing and they react in a negative and it's such a negative way where they instantly cut me off, where I'm so afraid to say it that I'll lose my friend, then I think you should just cut that friend off. And I don't mean that in like a weird way where it's like, you know, you're like, oh, I think you're like a piece of shit or whatever. It's like you could quietly cut them off. Being friends should be like the family you choose, where sort of unconditionally, I mean, like all relationships to a degree are conditional, but where the idea is there, where it's like unconditionally you'll do someone because you like them that much and you don't expect anything in return. And if they do it for you, good. But if they don't do it, it's fine. Because if they're at least respectful, kind, and open minded about who you are, I think that's enough. Where it's like they're not using you if you help them out of your own free will. They help you, you help them out, and they're grateful. They express their great like their gratefulness. You know, there's like grace to it if you help them after, even if they don't give you anything in return. Then that's still fine. It's not like a one to one thing. I don't think like everything should be one to one like that. And if things don't work out with you and your friends for whatever the case is, then I think it's fine. You shouldn't take it that personally. Since I think friendship should people even as I say, like, interests don't align. I think the friends you choose, should be the friends that will help you improve as a person. They should be able to give you advice that you may not want to hear, but that's good for you. You may like People can't do things alone. Maybe some people can, but those are maybe exceptions. Generally, humans are social creatures, right? So it's like we need other people. We can't do things on our own. So doing things on our own is infinitely harder than just having someone there encouraging you. Just the idea of someone encouraging your decisions and good decisions. I mean, that could also be a topic for another day about good and bad decisions, but good decisions or that it will improve your life or things that you will do that will help other people. If they encourage that, even if they don't physically help you, it's enough. It should be enough, theoretically. You know, your friends are there for you like family. That's how it should be, I think. Where if you're in a rough spot, if you're like, even if you have to like cry or whatever, if you're able to cry in front of your friends and they don't judge you for it, they see your moment of weakness, and at the end of the day, they're still your homies, they're still your boys, they're still like your friends. Those are the friends you should keep very close to you. You should not ever try to leave them if they unless they do something really fucked or whatever the case is, where they, you know, maybe because people change at the end of the day, so it's you don't know. Maybe one day they'll change and they'll be pieces of shit, you don't know. But in the moment that they're there for you in your weakest moments, or you're there for their weakest moments, and they have grace to it, they're grateful to it that you were there. Those are what real friendship is. There is soul to it, there's humanity to it, and I think that's the biggest thing. You should be able to say maybe something like a deep secret, to something that you don't want to say to anyone else, to them, and if they're able to accept that, they're able to accept it, then again, as I'll keep repeating, and that's what real friendship is. Real like if And I'm not saying you should say to your friends, you should use your friends as a therapist or whatever. I think you should think about whether or not you're also comfortable about saying whatever you want to them first. And the thing is, it's you have to think, if is it okay if I say this? And you could be wrong, where it's, you could vent or whatever, and then in the moment they could hate that you're venting. And I think if they hate that you're venting, if they hate that you're expressing like bad things that are happening in your life or whatever the case is, you have a bad day, if you can't express that to your friends, then you should think about that and realize that, you know, they're not for you. Maybe these aren't real friends in that regard. If if all your friends do for you is something like material, you should also look at that, because as much as it is good, like all your friends does this and that for you, if the only thing they do is material and that's it, where they just like, oh, you want to ride in my car, like, yo, I'll buy you this and that, whatever, like, you should also be mindful about that, where it's like you're also not exploiting your friend, and you should like try to, you know, not rely on them in that way. And I'm not saying you should not rely on your friends for some things. I think you should not be so reliant on your friend that they become sort of like people you use every single day. You shouldn't. The key words, I think I think I've been repeating over and over. It's usefulness, exploitativeness, and I guess I don't know if I haven't said the word, but toxicity, where it's like you you should not look at your friends as tools at all. Maybe you can look at them here and there, like, my friend can do this for me, my friend can do that, but it should be in a sense of a one time thing. That should not be the main part of your friendship or how you look at them. Maybe you can look at them and be like, oh, he has a car, I don't have a car, maybe I could ride with him, you know. And if you do stuff like that with your friends, you should have grace. You should be grateful, you should express you're grateful, you should be thankful, even if you can't afford like to pay them or whatever. And if it's a one or two time thing, it's fine. But if you keep doing it, where it's like once is like an accident, two two is a coincidence, three is a pattern. You know, if you do things more than three times and it's negative towards your friends or your friends towards you, you should think about that also. Because it's not a one way friendship. It's not a one-way thing where it's like how your friends should treat you. You should also learn how to treat your friends. And I think that's also something people lack, where you just because your friends accept you, also you should not be able to do whatever you would like to them. Whether you purposefully say something you know they won't like. Accidentally saying it is fine in the heat of the moment, because like some days are worse than others and you can't control yourself. But deliberately saying something like fucked up to your friends deliberately, and you know it's fucked up, and and it's not in the heat of the moment, you're just doing it to fuck with them, to be a troll or whatever, then you should look at yourself before you even like think about what you expect of others. And I want to reiterate, friendship is a two-way street. Also, maybe I talked about more about how like friends should treat you, but you should also be mindful of how you treat friends. Where if they help you, be grateful if you can't repay them. If you help them and they're grateful for you, be thankful that they at least have grace, that they're good people in that regard. You know, I think, and I think that's it mainly. I had to record this three times, so I think I was a bit all over the place, but I think this is way better than how I started. So yeah, thank you for anyone watching. If there's even a single person watching, I hope you take away something from this.